I hope I don't start crying.
You know, I when I was working at WIVK, I covered Bert when he was in high school, playing at Bearden and going up head-to-head against Elston Turner and all those great matchups they had. And what a great player that Bert was in high school. And then when he came to Tennessee, I was working at WIVK and got to cover him when he was playing with Ernie and Bernie and all those great teams they played on. And, you know, I'm proud of Bert. He played on 3 NCAA tournament teams at Tennessee. He still holds the Tennessee record for assists in an NCAA tournament game with 16. So Bert was a really good player, and I think he's been a really good analyst, and I think the best in the SEC. So I've been blessed with that.
Well,
so,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Any questions? Yeah, Rick.
Bert, you've had a lot of money calls, no doubt about that, but what will you remember most about your 26 years broadcasting or analyzing alongside Bob?
I think the main thing is the relationships. I've met so many great people, UT fans, you know, our opposition, the other radio guys, the TV personalities, will really stands out. But I think what stands out above all is the great basketball that I've been able to see and be right there on the court and be at a lot of practices and get to know a lot of great coaches and great players that have come through over the last 26 years. And there's too many to mention, but UT's a first-class program, big time, and they've treated Bob and I really well. And it's just been a blast to cover it. But the people, with Rick, would be the thing I remember the most.
How would you feel about Zakai breaking that NCAA assist record maybe in your final game?
It would be fine if it's in the Final Four. If he breaks it before that, it won't be so great. But I think this guy's working on the single season record, right? He's got 220 or something. What an amazing player. It's been an honor to cover him.
I've told Zakai about that record, so he knows about it. So hopefully he'll be motivated to maybe break it. And Bert wouldn't mind if he broke it anyway.
I wouldn't mind a bit.
Bob, you've done this for a couple of decades.
Yeah.
Bert was your partner. I mean, how long, Bert, did it take you to feel like you weren't just kind of a guest analyst?
I still feel that way.
You know, we did TV games together for about 3 years maybe?
3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah, we did. There was a Vol Network TV package. So Bert and I actually worked together on TV for a couple of years, and then when I got the chance to take over as the lead announcer, Bert was the first guy I called. So we had a little chemistry already, but I just told Bert, say whatever you want to say, yell and scream, but when the ball gets to midcourt, give it back to me. And he's done that consistently, so that's good.
Bert, when did you kind of make the decision, and did Bob retiring factor into that at all for you guys to go out together?
Well, honestly, I was thinking of retiring last year, and then Bob and I talked over the summer, and he said he thought he was going to go one more year, and he didn't come right out and ask me or put any pressure on me, but I said, well, I'll go with you one more year. Now, I've missed some road games. That was part of the deal. The traveling was kind of getting to me. But I'm glad I did stay another year with Bob, and it's fitting that we're going out together because he's a Hall of Famer, and he's great leadership, great professionalism, and a pleasure to work with. And the Vol Network's been the same way. Steve Erling, Glenn Thaxton, Brandon Parks, and all their staff have treated me in a first-class way the whole time. And I respect them, and I admire them for that.
Tell them about your first meeting with Edwin Huster about taking the job.
Yeah, I met with Edwin and Bob and Steve and Glenn. We went to lunch, and Edwin was he likes to give me a hard time anyway. I knew Edwin.
Edwin was general manager of the Vol Network at that time.
But he said, Bert, there's 3 things you can't do. You can't be a homer. In other words, you can't show favoritism to UT. You can't referee the game, and you can't coach the game. In other words, second guess the coach. And I said, well, I'm not your man. And he said, why? And I said, well, you're right on one of the 3. I'm not going to coach the team. I'm not going to second guess the coach. But I'm surely going to criticize the referees. I think your fans, and it's the Vol Network, so how would I not be a homer? He goes, okay, we'll let you go with that.
Yeah.
He was good with it.
Is there a favorite memory you have in all the games you called?
Every game against Kentucky that we win is my favorite. But there's been so many that it's hard to even count them. I can remember when Kansas came in here at #1 back when Pearl was here, and we knocked them off. We were shorthanded that game. That stands out. But winning in Rupp Arena, I would have to say, would be the highlight.
How rewarding, Bert, has it been to watch
Tennessee's program kind of elevate nationally over the last 25 years?
Oh, it's been tremendous. It really has. Coach Barnes and his staff and all the people that have worked in the program are top notch. And I love the way the players behave, going on the road with them, their character. They're all fine young men. And it's really fun to watch them grow as players and as people. And I wish I got to know them better, but what I know I really like, and it's great. Our program's been talked about all year, and we've got a great shot to go deep in the tournament.
You were a great high school athlete here. You stayed in the community, business, philanthropist, and you've been well known since you were 18 years old around Knoxville. What's it been like to probably be well known or have more celebrity as a second career because of money and a broadcaster? I mean, there are probably people that know you for that don't even know you played until their parents tell them.
Well, it's been great. It's been great, and the money thing kind of grew. I played with a guy named Terry Glenn, and he used to say money in practice all the time. So that's where it came from. And then Chris Lofton, his long-range shooting really took it to another level. And at times people say, you didn't say money enough during the game, and I feel like I say it way too much. But it's been rewarding. It's been fun, and I didn't do this for the money, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I did it as because it was fun and it was fulfilling and it was exciting and it was and being buddies with Bob, it was a natural thing, and I love UT basketball, so it's been great.
What about the "talk to me" catchphrase? Is there another good story behind that one as well?
I don't know that. I think I heard somebody else, and I just stole that. But I've had some positive comments about it, and I get wrapped up in the game. And one of the things that my father taught me was love of the game, but also whatever you do it with enthusiasm and energy. And that's what I try to do. I try to bring energy to the broadcast. And Bob's got to do a lot of other things as the play-by-play guy, much more difficult job. Me, I just, like you're sitting at home watching a game, and I just try to say things that'll help the audience understand what's going on. And I think when you're enthusiastic, it helps.
Obviously there was a good amount of success when you were a player here, and then it was kind of up and down for a bit. There was at times there wasn't. Did you sort of maintain faith the whole time that something like this could come back again where you're a contender every year here?
Yeah, I did, because Tennessee wanted to be good. We just couldn't get the right coach, and coaches come and go, and we just didn't have what it took leadership-wise. But once we got that, there's plenty of resources here, and who wouldn't want to come here and play? It's a great place, and so yeah, I had confidence we could be at this level.
Bob, you touched on it a little bit, but in football you have 4 or 5 road trips a year.
Mm-hmm.
In basketball, I mean, you guys have been together for 6 months. You're on the road for maybe a month now. I mean, can you delve into a little bit of just how much of a part of the fabric of each other's lives you've become because of that?
Well, usually if it's a Saturday game, Friday nights we go to dinner someplace and we talk about different things. We go to shoot-arounds and be around each other so much. And so I've watched his kids grow up, and he's watched my kids grow up, and it's just been the thing is, what's made it special is not only do we work together, but we're actually friends. I mean, we do a golf tournament for Helen Ross McNabb. We do a bunch of different things in the community. Bert's so active in the community. So it's more than just a partnership in broadcasting. It's a friendship. And we've had it for, 40 years, I guess, doing stuff. So it's been special.
Anything else?
You doing this just to get away from Rick?
No, I had enough of Rick yesterday. No. And Bert will tell you, we have so much fun with Coach Barnes, and he's one of the most unique coaches I've ever been around, and Bert will probably back me up on this. When he's on the floor, I've never seen a coach more intense and down to detail. But when he steps across that line, you don't know what you're going to get. Practical jokes and stuff. I mean, it's just amazing, and that's what's made it fun. I mean, it's really been a lot of fun with Coach Barnes, and I marvel at how he prepares his team. I marvel the relationship he has with his players, the character he has with this program, and just what he's brought to Tennessee basketball. So we've been fortunate to work with some really good coaches, but Coach Barnes is right up there near the top.
And the one thing about Coach Barnes that you can count on is his teams play hard. They play hard, they play great defense, and they play hard. Sometimes they're off offensively, which all teams are. But his teams, when you play against Tennessee, you better come to play, and that's fun. That's fun for us over there. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's the one thing that I've always thought about in broadcasting is I'm never going to be negative unless the team doesn't play hard, unless they're loafing, and then you can't get behind that. That's never been an issue with Coach Barnes' teams.
You know, you talk about Coach Barnes when he's not on the floor, when he's away, he's a jokester and he's a lot of fun to be around. And I got the first glimpse of that, our first NCAA tournament game we were doing together. I keep a little card in my wallet, you know, that says the last word from Coach Barnes is brought to you by First Horizon. And I use that card so I don't mess up the close before we go into the broadcast. So we're getting ready to play our first NCAA tournament game. And I take my wallet out and I get my little card and I lay the wallet down. And we do the interview, and I say, thanks, Coach Barnes, and good luck today. He said, okay, thank you. As he's leaving, he picks up my wallet and steals my wallet. And he's running down the hall with my wallet, and I'm chasing him back into the locker room. And he's hiding in the locker room with my wallet. And I'm going, we're an hour away from an NCAA tournament game, and he's doing this kind of stuff. But then guess what? He goes out, and his team plays great, and they win an NCAA tournament game. So that's what you deal with him. And it's just amazing his focus, laser focus, when they tip the ball up and they start playing. And that's what's so amazing about him. Anyway, thank you all for being here, and thank you for saying, I hope, some nice things about us down through the years. And appreciate the coverage, and thanks, and support the basketball team going forward. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Congrats.
Appreciate it.
One of your best ones he pulled out was Santi, one of his first year when he pulled out the dinero. Oh, yeah. The money in Spanish. That was one of my all-time
Hey,
favorites.
Robin, can we get a
Yeah.
picture real quick? Needy reporters. That's great.
Yeah.
You want a family picture? That'd be great. Thank you.
I'll get out of the family picture. I'm on it like an
A lot of road
adult
trips.
son. Yeah, it was really
You're Brownie. Brownie, you go over there. Thank you. Of course. This way. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Of course.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey,
Congrats.
thanks, Bert.
Did you say court maybe, or is that also?
Bob, I'll see you tomorrow. buddy.
Okay, Bert. See ya.
See ya.
Thanks, Bert. Appreciate
I'll
you.
see you in Nashville.
Okay, Sheila. Thank you.
Back when I moved to Fairfax in 1980, everywhere I would go to a game, I was with him. He carried those Withers.
Pocket candy.
Yeah, and so he'd hand it, and I asked him why. He said, "I don't want you to forget me." So every time I'd go in, I'd say, "Give me one."
Here you go.
Yeah. Before we start, I really want to thank Bob Kessling and Bert Bertelkamp for their amazing love for this university and the basketball program and what they've been. And it's a happy day, but it's also a sad day because of the last 10 years being with Bob. It's been really a blessing for me to spend the time not only before the game with him, but afterwards, just becoming a dear friend. And Bert, same thing. You know, Bert's sister is my wife's best friend, and so I've got to know the Bertelkamps really well, and Bob, and we all owe a sincere, big-time thanks to them for their love for the university, the basketball program, athletic department, and I'm just thankful that God brought all of our lives together, because the last 10 years have been a real blessing for me and for, I think I speak on behalf of everyone that's involved with the University of Tennessee.
Bob said you ran him out of business.
Well, you know what, I
Couldn't
tried 10 years ago, you know, but it didn't work, and he kind of grew on me, you know. But we've had some good times and some fun times, and people would probably, if they could get all of our outtakes and put people would probably be surprised.
Bob recalled a story when you took his wallet during an NCAA tournament game. Do you remember that moment? What led to it?
Well, I always was trying to mess him up. You know, I always kidded him because he's such a professional, but he carries a little card that at the end, when he's done with me, he'll call out the sponsors. And I'm saying, you know, he's done this all year. How can it not be memorized yet? And so knowing that he's getting ready for that card, I took it. And it was just part of his wallet. And he's trying to chase me down. And I'm not going to tell you where I put the wallet, because I made him go fishing for it. But we've had a lot of good laughs.
Senior day, coach. What are these seniors? What does the senior class mean to you, especially with Kai and Jemima?
Well, again, it's always a tough time. You know, we're gonna actually move our senior day to after the game, because one, we've got a lot this year, and we really don't want to rush through it. And we've always felt like I've always felt like those guys, if they would like to have a chance to address, you know, Ball Nation, they should be able to do that if they would choose to do it. You can't do that prior to the game. But when I think of those two guys, because 4 years ago when they came in, two guys that we had no idea at the time, like most guys, the impact that they would make on the program, not just basketball-wise, but what they've done outside the program, and how they have endeared themselves at such a high level with Ball Nation. And I think they will go out as really two of the most highly remembered players, certainly in my time here. But what they've done on the court, I wish every coach would have a chance to coach two guys that you learn through them that hard work is a talent, because you've never had to coach hard work with them, which you do sometimes, but with other players. But that's a major talent. Their competitive spirit is a talent. Their willingness to win. I think they both have lived up to our motto. You know, it's not about me, because they have never made it about them. Even when the transfer portals started, all that started happening, the NIL, all that. It was always about what can they do to make this program better. And again, it's been quite a dynamic duo with those guys. And they've made a major impact. I think the impact they made on Jordan Gainey has been remarkable, because I could put him right there with them. My only regret with Jordan is that we didn't have him for 4 years, because he's been everything that we would want plus. And then you bring in, you know, Chaz and Igor. The impact they've made, ultimate team players. Again, I'd say the same thing. I wish we could have had them the entire time.
Coach, you say you didn't, with your mind's like, you didn't know what you could expect me to do. I mean, Jemima was a top 100 recruit, but as a guy, I can remember you talking after you saw him for the first time. You kind of looked like the cat who ate the canary, that you found, you know, a hidden gem. But even, I mean, what was it like when you first saw him at Augusta? What did you see that made you want to bring him in and take that chance?
Well, we had always sort of kind of kept a scholarship late. We still try to do that if we can. And most of the time, late in the summer, we're thinking, can we get a post player? Maybe to go with a developmental guy that way. But knowing that Kennedy Chandler at the time was thinking that he wanted to be one and done, we knew he wanted to be one and done. I just mentioned to the coaches one day, maybe we should think about taking a point guard with that last scholarship, and we had never done that. And when that happened, Rod and those guys had all been down at Augusta, and it was the last week, and I was rolling in there to see somebody, and just happened to, they said, well, let's watch him, and based on also the AAU program he was coming out of, is when you think of it, it's just toughness and everything, and they had already done their homework. My coach had already done their homework with it, and then I saw him just play an incredible game, and the way he plays now, that's how he played that day, and then we got involved, and once people found out we got involved, it always happens. Other schools try to get involved, and he didn't, like he had a lot of time to take visits. Once we got him here on the visit, he had to go back home by NCAA rules, and honestly, he had to wait a couple of days because he had to get people help him to get enough money to fly back here on his own. And so he came in a couple of days after classes started, and I've said before, and I've always kidded Kennedy about this, I said, you know what, maybe we should have redshirted you instead of him. But I think Kennedy would tell you that Zakai was maybe one of the best things that ever happened to him, and vice versa. But Zakai hit it running and never looked back.
That recruiting class with Jemai, Zakai, Kennedy, St. Jonas helped y'all win a lot of games. How significant was that group and helping kind of the sustained success y'all had the last 4 years?
It is, and I think the fact that when we had got it, we felt like we had got it going, and now could we sustain it? And that's the hard part. I think you can get it going, certainly in most places, but can you sustain it? And not just sustain it, but continue to grow it. And that's the hard part. And so you've got to give, especially those two, great credit for it. I mean, certainly Kennedy had a major impact. Jonas did his part when he was here. But really, Jemai and Z, they have, I'm telling you, it's amazing, the impact. And it's not just on the court. I'm telling you, it's not. I mean, what Jemai and Z have done, and Jemai's gotten involved in so many different things with ball leaders, everything. And like I said, they've lived up to our motto, it's not about me as well as anybody. And this year, I think really where we are right now, their leadership has been at an extremely high level. And both of them, I can't thank their families enough either. I mean, they've been so supportive of us when at a time in college basketball is when it's easy for someone to walk out. Their families, the values that their families placed in both of these guys about hard work, loyalty, grinding it out day to day. Again, I'm blessed and thank the good Lord for giving me a chance to be around them for the 4 years I've been here, and I love them to death, and all of them, and that's what makes my job a great job.
Rick, when you look at just the backstories of those guys, Jemai and Zakai, they're coming from 3,000 miles plus away from each other, different backgrounds growing up. Are they kind of an example of what sports and basketball can do? The kinds of people they can bring together that you never really would have met otherwise, I guess.
Yeah, I do think that's true about sports, how it can bring people together and from different backgrounds. And I do know those guys have created what will be a lifelong experience, a friendship, a relationship, because they have been through it. I'm sure if they were standing right here beside me, they would tell you when one of them's up, one of them's down, they've been a rock for each other. And it's obviously great when they're both playing at such a high level. And as you guys know, I'm tough on them. But what I appreciate that, I think they appreciate it in their own way, because they are highly driven. They want to be coached. They want to get better. But it's really interesting when you think about they do come from different parts of the country, and both grew up differently, but there's a connection there that's unique, and I would say that they both have impacted each other in really some real profound ways.
Is
Is it crazy to think about the impact or I guess the fit Jemai has been? Because I don't think he ever visited here because of COVID restrictions during his recruitment. To come across the country having never stepped foot on campus.
Well, Mike Schwartz was the lead recruiter on him, and all Mike kept telling me through the entire time, Coach, I'm just telling you, he's what you want. And I think what Mike meant by that, Mike knows that I like really tough guys. He knows I like guys that work hard, guys that want to get better, guys that want to be coached. And honestly, from the time I can think of the first couple of times I talked to Jemai and his family, they got it. They were like, hey, we know where he is, what he's got to do to get better, and we're going to support you every step of the way. And they have been incredible. I mean, and because he's like all players, it wasn't easy. You know, I mean, every player comes in thinking it's just going to happen because he had a successful high school career. They've been so realistic. They've been so honest, so transparent. And I will say it about him. I still think his best days are ahead of him. But I can remember the first time talking to his family. I knew I hung up the phone thinking that would be a real blessing for me to have a chance to coach him and be around his family. They've been highly supportive of him, obviously, and they're so close. You know, he's obviously had family in Georgia, which had something to do with it. But him being here has been really a blessing.
Is Zakai kind of a poster child, I guess, for how scholarship can absolutely change someone in their family's lives in terms of everything that's happened for them?
I think if people really understood what Zakai had to do before he got here, I mean, I think Dan O'Neill did a story with him where she was in New York when we were playing, and she said, I want to know how you did this, and he took her to the subway and taught her how didn't have the money to get on the subway, but how to get on it by jumping this, jumping that. I don't think people realize what Zakai had to do to get up in the morning, to get a train to go an hour to school, figure out how to get home, come home, and obviously do his responsibilities with his family. And when you think about that, him off the court, his way was totally different than Jemai's. And so when I just know how Zakai, his route, what he had to go through, and then as you said, Jemai was a top 100 player. Z was at a point where he was ready to give it up. You know, he left Augusta, didn't know if he wanted to reclassify. You know, he felt like he belonged at the highest level, but he was at a point where he thought, well, maybe I should just give this up. But he obviously thankful for us that that the good Lord put us there at that time, and fate worked out that God had a plan for him and us, and it's been a great 4-year run.
In what ways has Zakai challenged you to be a better coach?
Well, I think, again, I talk about consistency. I think the most consistent guy in the program has got to be the head coach and certainly the staff, but that's my number one responsibility, that those guys see me every day, do what I'm supposed to do. And when you got a guy like Zakai, and who he's going to bring it every day. So I think he would be the first guy that would probably notice if I wasn't on my edge or on my game. I think he would notice it. And to be quite frank, I think he'd probably say something to me. He hasn't had to say anything yet. You know, I've said more to him than he said to me. But the fact is, he would probably know it because he comes out there every day with an edge and a consistency, and that he wants to do his job.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys. Bob, you gonna come up and talk a little bit? Come on, Bob. We should have a little.
I got you.
Come on.
I got you.
Bob went before you.
Oh, well, you didn't do it.